What up, everybody? Welcome back to another movie review. Yesterday I went and saw a movie in theaters, a brand new one called Civil War from director Alex Garland. He directed 6 films before this. One of them was Ex Machina that I reviewed on the channel, and I really enjoyed that one. He's written other films, Dread, Men, Annihilation, so he's done a few things, and this one was a rather interesting movie. I don't know if I loved it, but going into it, I had different expectations, which are on me, and we'll talk about that. But yesterday I went and saw this movie with my buddy Barnard, and I forced him to get in front of the Deadpool and Wolverine poster that says Best Friends, and I made him get in there. I got this quick little picture of us. But A24 has really been going off. It seems like, we were watching the trailers for that movie yesterday, or watching the trailers before that movie yesterday, and it seems like there's just a bunch of A24 movies in the works or coming out, and I really like their mindset towards things, because they're not making $200 million movies. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie we just watched had a budget of like $4 million, $5 million, and it's already made more than that opening this weekend. It's the #1 A24 opening box office weekend for any A24 movie. It's the only one to go #1 in the box office over the weekend. Granted, nothing else came out this weekend, I don't think. There's still things like Dune Part 2's in theaters, getting extended run. Godzilla Kong, The New Empire is still in there. Monkey Man is still in there, and I saw all those the weeks before. So the only new thing that was really out this weekend that I could go see, I believe, was Civil War. And that's starring KIRSTEN DUNST, and that's starring my boy Pablo Escobar from Narcos. WAGNER, he plays Joel, and he plays Pablo Escobar in Narcos. He was fucking great in that role. So just seeing him kind of get like a goofier role in this, where he's not like goofy, it's mostly a serious movie, but he's definitely some levity in it. The President of the United States, which he's briefly in, he's not in it a whole lot, is Nick Offerman, which I love Nick Offerman. Stephen McKinley Henderson, I loved him in Dune Part 1. He had a scene cut from Dune Part 2. He's been in 33 films himself: Lady Bird, Manchester by the Sea, Beau is Afraid, Lincoln, Fences, Tower Heist. I saw that one as a kid. Native Son, Bruised. That's a movie with Halle Berry, I believe. So he's a very accomplished actor himself. He played Sammy, and he's 75 years old. And this man is out here doing it. And he gets shot and killed in this movie, which is very, very sad shit to me. Oh, man. Slight spoiler if you guys didn't want to know that. But at one point in the movie, he's like smoking what I think is, I'm pretty sure, a joint. And Joel Wagner hands Kirsten Dunst a joint. I'm almost positive because it was smoking more like a joint. Didn't really look like a cigarette. And she goes to like hit it and doesn't hit it, just passes it to him. And he's 75 and he hit it and ghosted it. Right? And I was like, there's no way that it wasn't a real cigarette or a real joint. Either way, because of the way that the smoke looked. And I'm a smoker. I know these things. Trust me. And he was like, I was just like, oh my god, the coolest man ever. Now all I want is to smoke a joint with Stephen McKinley Henderson. Like, he was just, I'm like, the coolest old man ever. I just want to smoke a joint with him and talk about Dune. And it was probably, I loved Jamie Jirax. She's just one of the best movie reviewers out there. She doesn't make a whole lot of videos reviewing movies, but she writes a lot of posts that are just absolutely perfect. And she said she liked this movie even more the second time around, and she got invited to the Mirror and couldn't pass up an opportunity to go to the after party. I had a feeling that this would be the coolest smoking section of all time, and I was correct. And then that just made me instantly go, wait a second, coolest smoking section? Who was smoking joints over there? And it was probably Stephen McKinley Henderson, Nick Offerman, WAGNER, maybe Kirsten Dunst is dabbling. But I was like, oh my god, just these people smoking joints over here. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. And now I just have a lifelong goal to end up in a smoke circle at a after party of a premiere, with a bunch of cool actors. Because that's exactly how I feel like I would get my in. I'd be over there smoking a blunt or something myself, and they'd be like, oh, that guy has something, let's go that way. But the whole concept of this movie, right, is what would happen, right? Because it's not the Civil War from, 1900s or whatever, 1800s, whenever that was. It's been a long time since I was in U.S. history class, forgive me. But this is what happens if Texas and California joined forces to become the Western forces. And there's a convenient little map here that they've made with Civil War, or for Civil War. There's the New People's Army, which is the northwestern side of the states. There's the Loyalist states, which is the northeast and into the central states, and branching their way into New Mexico, Utah area. And then there's the Florida Alliance, which is, Louisiana, Oklahoma, what is that, Georgia, Alabama, Florida. So there's all these different sections of people in America, and they're all kind of just losing their mind. There's battling, wars, guns, shooting left and right. And I thought this was going to be a war movie. So when I stepped into this movie, I was like, okay, this is going to be along the lines of like a Dunkirk or like a Saving Private Ryan, maybe, like a war movie, like a 1913, like one of those. And then I got into it and I was like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. So then it like discouraged me a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm not going to like this as much as I thought it was going to be, because I built up the expectation that I was going to be watching this crazy war movie for the next 2 hours. Instead, I was pleasantly surprised that Kirsten Dunst's character is a war photographer, and right, I'm a car photographer for my normal day job, and her little she gets like this little protege that she doesn't want, but she's a big fan of her, played by Kaylee Spinini, and she plays Jessie Cullen. And there's just some beautiful writing in this, and Jessie Cullen is pretty great. She just seems like this young kid that wants to be a war photographer, but she's seeing war for the first time, and she's like crazy, like she's throwing up. She's like super stressed out about it. But then once she's in it, she's like, at the same time, I feel like I want to die, and I've never felt more alive. And that's kind of the adrenaline rush of it. And she's like, now she's into it. She's taking pictures. And now Kirsten Dunst's character that used to love this shit is now only worried about this girl, and she's stressed out and she's losing her mind. So now she's not into the pictures as much, and the other girl is, and it's like, oh, okay. So it wasn't the war movie I thought I was going to get, although there is some crazy action in this as well. But it did make me want to take more photos, and so the reasons I wanted to like this movie aren't the reason I like this movie, but there's entirely different reasons I like this movie. And with that being said, I gave this movie 3 out of 5 stars, about a 6 out of 10. I did really enjoy it, but like I was saying to you guys in this whole video, not the way I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of a war movie, and that's on me. But I did still think the movie was really good. The cast did a great job. When Jesse Plemons shows up, that whole scene is wild. But this movie inspired me a little bit to go take more and more pictures and just, embrace more of the photography side of life. We got this camera in our pocket at all times. Why not take some more photos of things you think are beautiful? Or even go out and maybe I want to buy a film camera, and take shots, because the thing about film, it's not just like your phone. You can't just click, 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 and then pick the one you liked, or even video and then select a frame out of that video. You can't do that in a film camera. You have to line it up, and that's one shot. And then you have, 20-something more shots, and that's all you got. You have to use those shots wisely with a film camera. And personally, I think film just looks great. But still, comment below, what do you think of this movie? Civil War 2024 just came out, so go check it out for yourself. I hope I didn't spoil it too much for you or for the people that haven't checked it out yet. But if you have checked out this movie, comment below your thoughts on it and what you thought about this movie, and if you were similar thoughts to me or if you had completely different thoughts about it. I still think a 3 out of 5 is a very, very good score for a movie that I didn't particularly love. But hey, I still think it's good. So right down the middle, A24, keep killing it. Like this video, comment if you're new, subscribe, hit my link in the description below. Go check out my movie reviews on Letterboxd. Hit that bell so you don't miss future videos, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace.